Rolling. Okay, welcome back. So now we're going to look at another type of punch. We're going to look at a hook. So when I just, in a previous video, you'll be able to see, because these were definitely filmed on different days, you'll be able to see we're working on jab and cross, keeping the water in the mug, and back here. When I do the hook or an uppercut, it's exactly the same. I still keep water in the mug, and that helps me to align the strike from these two knuckles right through the skeleton here and correctly through the wrist and the elbow, so that it's anatomically lined up and being used. It's being driven forward from my lats, my latissimus, these muscles in the back here. Yeah. When it comes to a hook, it's exactly the same thing. It's still a straight linear punch. It's just coming from around a guard. But you'll notice that I'm holding my imaginary mug. There's imaginary water in my imaginary mug. There's a straight line through from that mug and the knuckles through the wrist to the supporting elbow. And it's my hip that is going to provide the rotation, the torque, yeah? So you're going to hold your mug. If you've got a willing partner holding, that's really useful. If it's a punching bag hanging from home, then you need to stand offset from the punching bag and punch it at this side angle. You can even stand in front and punch around. This is if someone's got a guard up and you're trying to get around the guard with a hook. That's what this is for. So imagine that you've got this person, this punching bag. I'm going to hold my mugs of water. I'm going to drop this elbow down around their imaginary guard. And then I'm going to, you don't really have to pivot. I'm going to rotate from the hip and impact. And I want to keep the water in the mug, insert the mug into the mug-shaped hole. Strike, 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 strike. And then you do 10 on that side, then you swap. 10 on this side. And start off slow, always start slow. And practice making sure you've got the imaginary water in the imaginary mug. And you want to build up the strength. If you're punching and you go, oh, and you notice some pain in your wrist, then you slow it back down because it means that you're impacting on some weird angle. And you go back. Think about how you punch straight for the vertical punches. Practice that again. Work out the feeling of this straight line and then turn it into your hook. The last thing to say about the hooks is that when you're striking, you're coming in on this side angle. Naturally, because your arm can't get too far away from you, it will slip, it will slide. Often when people do hooks, they get red knuckles and bleeding knuckles all along here. It's because they hit the pad and then they go and slide and use this as a really low grit sandpaper to take off, I thought you'd like that, to take off some skin. You know, a bit of exfoliation. So just so they can see it at home on this one. Some people, they do their hook like this and they slide and that rips the skin off. To fix that, imagine what you're doing instead is you're doing your hook slightly diagonal. So that I'm aiming to punch out that way instead of this way. And what that helps me to do is it pushes the pad away from me before I pull my arm back. And so I don't get this sliding. Otherwise, it will just rip. There's a little thing. If you've got a partner at home or you've got the hanging bag, get on both sides. If it's a partner, then you can practice 1, 2, back to the guard, 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 and just keep rolling through that. If it's a punching bag, then you're going to need to be the one who moves. So, no, I won't do it. I won't punch like that. But let's imagine, oh, that's a good idea, I'll punch this other. Let's imagine there's a punching bag. You're going to have to move 1, 2. Chances are the bag's going to be slightly too wide for you to just stand there because this is not a hook. Yeah, if you have to hit the side of the bag, you're just going to break your wrist. So you come around the side and hit the bag and hit the bag. Have a go at that. Enjoy.